Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. You found the room. It's a little bit of a unique lecture hall, but I'm glad you all found it. I'm glad you're all here to begin a new semester. So before we really get into it, though, I want to show you something, okay? I want to show you something that's really special to me. It's something that one of my students worked on, and he was a rock star. He built a lot. Has anyone ever seen this? Question.
Did I see you were streaming? It's kind of hard for me to see.
Oh, streaming?
Like, is there somewhere I can watch your stream?
So yes, actually. So hold on. Twitch.tv, A. Yarger. So this room does not have automated lecture captured. And so Twitch.tv will be our lecture recording system for this semester. And yeah, if you're in the back, you should be able to watch it once the ads clear. But another solution is just to kind of wheel up and get a little bit closer. Okay? Yes?
What was the name?
A. Yarger. So my email address, AYARGER on Twitch. Yep. I want to show you something. I want to show you something that one of my students worked on, and it was really only one student. The amount he accomplished was simply outstanding, okay? And it's called the Neuro VR Lab. Has anyone heard of it? Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. What is this? What is the Neuro VR Lab? It kind of looks like a game, but not really, right? What is it? It is an XR app, but what could it be used for? Any idea? The Neuro VR Laboratory, it's a project that was worked on by one of my star students, Daniel Kortemeyer, and supervised by Dr. Krishnan at the University of Michigan Medicine. And in particular, what you just saw is not a game. It's not made for recreation or entertainment. It is made for rehabilitation. If you're a patient who has lost control of your limbs, lost the ability to walk, lost your sense of balance, the precision and dexterity of your fingers, this is a kind of mini-game collection or exercise suite that a doctor can customize in order to let you basically practice regaining your motor skills, your functions. It can do really cool stuff. It can track you over time, and there are a lot of different mini games that the doctor can actually customize as you get better at them, as you gain your abilities back. And what's amazing to me is that this really isn't for entertainment. It's not for recreation, okay? It's not just for fun. If you have lost your motor abilities, like, this could be the difference between getting your abilities back in a month or two, or maybe not at all, okay? It's also a very poignant application for me because Daniel, after producing this entire app by himself, developing it all by himself, passed away. My first student to ever die. And the state of Michigan, our community, right? Our U of M community lost an absolute star when he passed away in 2020, all right? And one thing that is really just I keep coming back to, NeuroVR isn't something that traditional games can do. Now, if you don't know me, I teach the game development courses at the University of Michigan, okay? And yet, here we have something that games just cannot do, okay? It's something that is not about just traditional recreation, right? That's important, but like giving people their abilities back, their motor controls back, seems a little bit beyond recreation. And NeuroVR, importantly, is something that kind of rekindled my belief in XR. Because I don't know about you, but there have been a lot of technologies these past few years, and they don't always live up to the hype, do they? So, for the longest time, you see, I was actually kind of an XR skeptic. Can any of you say the same? How many of you have put a VR headset on and you're amazed, but then, oh wait, what's that other feeling you're getting in your stomach? You're a little bit nauseous. Oh yeah, right? And so I have a challenge for all of you. Let's see how well you do. I'm going to describe an impactful new technology, and I want you to tell me what it is and how did it do. Okay? What technology am I describing? This is a technology that fans fork over hundreds or even thousands of dollars to get an early experience with. It is defined by uncompromising immersion, okay? It is a technology completely obsessed with immersing you. It is a multi-industry technology, okay? Now, gaming is a part of that, but other industries are also in on that, visualization and simulation and stuff like that. It is the foundation of billion-dollar products and supported by very well-known Fortune 500 companies. And so the question for you is, what am I describing? And do you think it's going to be impactful? Think it's going to make it? It's going to be the next iPhone? What do you think? What do you got?
I mean, this kind of sounds like smartphones.
Okay. Well, it's not smartphones. What do you think? What could it be? Yes.
I wonder if it's broader specific.
It's very specific. It's fairly specific. Yeah. What do you think?
I'm not right.
How many of you are thinking VR and AR? Well, pretty close, okay? I mean, this is the XR course, so it's finally time to talk about this technology. Let's talk a little bit about 3D TV, okay? How many of you remember a 3D TV? Okay, how many of you had a 3D TV? And how many of you still do? All right, good stuff. Do you enjoy it?
I've never used it.
Oh. Do you use it mainly in like 2D mode, or you've never used it?
Yeah, it has like some glasses that I've used it once now.
Yeah. You used it once and you're like, this is kind of neat. And then
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, 3D TV, a new technology going to revolutionize the world. Okay, it was the tech hype train of the 2010s. It was a modern evolution of stereoscopy which is a topic that's going to be very important to us in this class. Basically, the idea here is we want to show each eye a slightly different image, okay? And this is a technology that has been around for a very long time. 1962, right? Has anyone seen one of these ViewMasters? I actually have one in my office, but I forgot to bring it. Basically, it shows you the same image, but slightly distorted for each eye, and that gives you the sensation of depth, despite the fact that you're actually looking at a normal 2D surface, okay? And so, when it comes to 3Ds, TVs, you usually have to put on some goggles, and it gives your eyes different images, possibly by displaying different parts of the TV or different frames on the TV very, very quickly. Okay. Another option is to kind of have the resolution that you use on the TV, and you can use these glasses to basically force one eye to look at one half of your resolution, and the other eye looks at the other half, displaying slightly different images. Okay. Has anyone used the Nintendo 3DS? A very popular device that introduced glasses-free 3D. And the way that they accomplish this is very, very impressive and interesting. However, we'll talk more about the 3DS in just a bit, okay? How many of you owned a 3DS? How many of you quickly switched into 2D mode and spent most of your time there, okay? 2010 saw an explosion in box office releases, okay? Big films that had 3D as kind of an integral part of their production, right? Films like Avatar were a very, very big smash hit, the killer app for 3D films. But you also had Alice in Wonderland, Monsters University. One really big thing was that if the film was 3D, theaters could charge about 30 to 40% more for the ticket. So they were very, very incentivized to make 3D work, from the people producing the 3D cameras to the theaters that were showing the 3D films, okay? And after 3D came to theaters and saw some modest success, the 3D home televisions soon followed, okay? And so when you look at how we described 3D TV earlier, I wasn't really exaggerating. This was a technology that was all about creating additional immersion, changing the way that you interact with media, changing the way that you consume stories that humans have been telling for many years. It was the foundation of very, very big products. Okay, you had gigantic corporations, right? Sony supporting this, trying to make this the next big thing. Okay. And so, what on earth happened? Why didn't it work out? Okay? Because almost no one has a 3D TV today. Theaters do still show some 3D films, but they almost always have the standard 2D version there as well. Okay? And most importantly, maybe, what is going to cause AR, VR to be any different? Why is XR going to survive and make it and continue to have impact for a long time when all these things that describe 3D TV could also describe AR and VR? The nature of technology and hype is a big topic in this course. It's becoming a bigger topic every day. Every year, there seems to be a new big hype train, okay? What would you describe 2024 as big technology? And I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. What would you say? What's your best guess? I think there are actually a few pretty good answers. AI. Absolutely, right? However, a couple years ago, that might have been something like blockchain. And in there somewhere, XR, metaverse, okay? New technologies are constantly coming and going. Some of them have huge impact, and some of them wither away. Many of them kind of find a middle ground, okay? So what is going to cause VR and AR to make it where 3D TV, on the paper, kind of a similar technology, failed? And I think the answer is going to be non-recreational stuff, okay? It's going to be some of the stuff we just saw. 3D TVs could give you a mildly better experience, but it couldn't fix your life. It couldn't give you your health back. It couldn't teach you in a way that normal 2D programming could, okay? And so I've got a story for you. We're headed back to 2013, okay? This was an era where I looked like this, and they let me run, still, the Wolverine Soft Game Development Club on campus. And I remember one of my good friends, Craig Albert. If you don't know this guy, you will see him around if you're walking around downtown Ann Arbor. He is a tech enthusiast, and he was one of the first people to have the Oculus dev kits in the early days, okay? I think he had the dev kit too, and he brought it around to Wolverine Soft. He brought it around to many different local community functions. And quick question, how many of you have never put on a VR headset before? Okay, a few of you, not too many, all right? But you never forget that first time with the VR headset. Here's some really old footage. Found this on YouTube. Who's that right there? And Craig brought the VR headsets around. The very first experience I ever had was getting my head chopped off in the guillotine simulator. Okay, I was over a table, and when it finally fell, Craig chopped my neck, and there you go. My head rolled around, and it was quite an experience. The idea that suddenly you could control your presence in a digital reality, not via a controller, right, but by just doing what you always do, by shifting yourself, right, by looking around, rotating your head, translating your shoulders, was incredible. Right? It really did, and this is a bit cheesy, feel like you were there in a way that most games just aren't able to accomplish. I also played things like Pac-Man VR. Okay, has anyone played this one? Pac-Man VR. It's what you would expect. You're in a maze, and you are dashing around as much as you can, grabbing dots and trying to stay away from not ghosts, I guess, but these robots chasing you. It was a thrilling time. In some ways, it was more of a survival horror than an arcadey collectathon game, because from this perspective, you have no idea where the ghosts are. Around every corner could be another hazard, and so the tone is totally different. It's much more frantic. It's intense, and it was a lot of fun. But you know what it also was? It was really sickening, okay? My first experiences with VR were visceral, but they also made me terribly sick for days, okay? And it was clear that as much promise as this bold, new, exciting technology had, it had so much friction, okay? Friction that I wondered in the back of my head might prevent it from becoming the next iPhone, okay? The next smartphone revolution. When you ask yourself, you see a big new product, a big new technology, you ask yourself an important question: who is this for? And when it came to VR, right? When it comes to VR, AR, there's a pretty quick answer, right? A pretty common answer. A lot of people say, well, it's for video games, right? It's for recreation. We're going to put you into a virtual world. We're going to give you an exhilarating, exciting time in some fashion. It's for games, right? And maybe that's true in some ways, right? Has anyone played Half-Life Alyx? Many people consider it the killer app for virtual reality, one of the biggest productions for this new medium. It has 60,000 reviews, very positive ones, on Steam. It is popular. Okay, there are other games as well. Beat Saber, how many people have played that? Okay, it has just about the same amount, 60,000 reviews. Okay, that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But compared to normal, traditional games, it's not doing so hot, okay? Not that popular. Compare 60K to 381,000. And when I took this screenshot, Alex had been around for years, and Elden Ring was only a month or two old, okay? Even smaller games like Valheim, indie games, are easily eclipsing it, okay? You might ask yourself, is it not immersing people enough? Is it not engaging enough, right? One of the most engaging experiences of the 2000s looked like this. How many of you have played this game? A game called Undertale. People didn't need immersive aesthetics or graphics to get into the world. All they needed were good ideas, interesting people and characters to talk to, and interesting gameplay mechanics. That's all it really took, okay? Engagement is not about technology, it's about ideas and what you choose to do with that technology, okay? Never forget that this experience, the experience provided by books, no aesthetics at all, are still extremely successful and popular even today, even in the age of XR, okay? And so it seemed that VR was stagnating, okay? We started to see a lot of headlines that were a little bit grim, okay? Smartphone VR headset sales collapse as interest wanes. This should be VR's moment. Why is it still so niche, right? VR sales are tanking. Is the market in a tailspin, all right? Kind of grim, right? It began to feel like XR might be our next 3D TV. A mildly interesting new technology that gets pushed by a bunch of gigantic corporations and then fizzles out into nothing within a decade. That's how it was feeling, okay? And AR, if you're more into augmented reality, not doing too much better, okay? Has anyone ever seen this famous GIF before? This is the famous Magic Leap whale GIF. This is some footage that was shown to the public from a company called Magic Leap. They make VR headsets, AR headsets, sorry. Much like the Microsoft HoloLens, of which we have 3 here today. And interestingly, they showed this footage with a bunch of people enjoying this virtual character, this whale splashing through the floor, but they didn't market as being a concept piece, okay? They didn't do anything to indicate that this was fake, okay? That this was aspirational. People thought this is where the technology was until a couple years later when their product came out and it was not there, not at all, not even close, okay? And so this is what the headset ended up coming out and looking like. How many of you would wear this to a party? Anyone? No? Yeah, it doesn't look super great, okay? And so AR was afflicted with a lot of the bad vibes and bad headlines that VR was tanking at the time, okay? Magic Leap and some of these companies were forced to slash jobs, slash investment, and it was just a very kind of grim period for this technology. Is it going to make it? A lot of people were saying no. One of the biggest hits for XR in its history was a game called Pokemon Go. How many of you played it? And as amazing and impressive in many ways as it was, it had a button to turn off one of its main XR features, okay? Lots of people turning AR mode off, okay? So that they could just enjoy the other elements. It's a little bit depressing, isn't it? How could it be failing? How is this possible? It was foreseen in the stars. Media has been hyping up VR and AR forever. How many of you have seen Tron? A very classic movie, right? Going into digital worlds. This is a film that is very creative. It's a 1982 film. So the film was made in the era before computers were really understood as concepts by the general public. And so the way that this film tries to kind of personalize and humanize a lot of computer concepts like software, the relationship between a human who uses a program and the program who carries out their tasks is really interesting. But you have also cartoons doing this kind of thing, right? Fairly Odd Parents. You've got big books and films like Ready Player One advocating and showing us what the future is going to look like, right? And yet, it seemed to be struggling. And so the case was that I didn't really believe in XR. I was skeptical in a very real sense. I kind of chalked it up to a bunch of other technologies that came in with a lot of hype but did nothing. We've got 3D TV, of course, but you've also got the 3DS quickly transforming into the 2DS, right? You've got motion controls which are still around and still a bit impactful, but didn't quite take over the way you thought. Does anyone remember smell-o-vision? One of my favorites. This is a technology where you would, for instance, purchase a film and this film would come with a card. Or you'd go to the theater and you'd get a card with the film. And at certain moments in the film, they would like flash a number or an icon, and you were supposed to scratch that part of the card, and it would release the smell that fits with that scene. And if that sounds a little bit crazy and goofy, it was. And there's a reason that stuff really isn't around anymore, okay? This isn't even the first time that VR has been tried. The Virtual Boy, many years ago, I believe in the 90s, was Nintendo's first big attempt at VR. And it was a complete utter flop. So I didn't believe in XR, okay? Until I started to finally see some of the smaller, less sexy, less romantic, and exciting use cases that personally I think are way more exciting, actually. When you look at social impact, right? When you look at what VR and AR can do that traditional games cannot. When you look at a game like Beat Saber, right? Beloved by so many, people play Beat Saber not just for fun, but actually to get a workout. And if you've played Beat Saber, you know that's not hype. That's real, okay? I'll show you in a little bit at our end of semester showcase. We usually have at least one team that does some sort of very interactive obstacle course app. And I'm always shocked by how much of a workout people get at the showcase. In fact, it gets to the point where we actually have to cordon off that area so that they don't accidentally strike or run into people who are watching. Other things, right? Empathy training, art, anti-bias training, first responder training. Okay? You know, it's really dangerous to actually put someone out there when a live chemical spill is happening. That is not something you want to do. Humans and chemicals and fire and flames don't mix very well. It's a huge liability. Insurance is not going to be happy. If someone gets hurt, that's going to be really bad for you. So let's do this. Let's put them into a virtual environment. Let's randomize the simulation so they can't just memorize what they need to do. And let's dynamically check how they react to surprising new situations. Imagine the training value there. Has anyone seen this film, The Matrix? I want to show you one of my favorite scenes from this film. When you talk about XR and education, this idea that we can put you into a headset and we can train you more efficiently. We can not just have you read about a situation, but we can put you in the situation, watch how you react, and correct things at real time. That starts to kind of feel like we're just kind of plugging knowledge into your brain. Imagine if we could train you not in 10 months to be a first responder, but 10 minutes or 10 seconds. Let's take a look.
Now, supposed to start with these operation programs first. That's Major Boss said. Let's do something a little more fun. How about combat training? Jiu-jitsu. I'm going to learn jiu-jitsu. Holy shit. Hey, Mikey, I think he likes it. How about some more? Hell yes. Hell yeah. How was he? 10 hours straight. He's a machine. I know kung fu.
Show me. This is a sparring program, similar to the programmed reality of the Matrix. It has the same basic rules like gravity. What What you must learn is that these rules are no different from the rules of a computer system. Some of them can be bent, others can be broken. Understand? Then hit me, if you can.
Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen the scene or haven't seen this before, don't have the context, basically Neo is plugged in to a machine here. They need him to come up to speed very quickly with martial arts so that he can take part in the team's plans to try and save humanity from robots who've entrapped them. And the way this happens, right, martial arts is something that you can spend an entire lifetime getting very good at, and yet in this futuristic setting, they're able to plug directly into a socket at the back of your head, and they're able to manipulate the neurons, the information in your brain, in order to get it just right so that you have the knowledge that you need, okay? This takes not 10 years, it takes 10 seconds. And what's really amazing as well, when Neo is done with this very intense first go, how does he react? Is he like, oh, no way, I'm done. Like, I'm out of here, right? No, quite the opposite. In fact, what does he say? You want some more? Hell yes. Okay, hell yes, right? In the world of education, we'll talk more about education in a later lecture, but in the world of education, one of the big challenges that we face is how do you get a kid to study chemistry for 10 hours straight? You can't do it. It's tough, right? Maybe a very rare individual will be so into it that they will, but you know what kids are doing all the time for 10 hours straight?
Do you think the point there is that, like, the seamlessness of this experience and the facilitation of it, you could even get into, like, the emergent response?
Absolutely.
The joy of learning.
Absolutely. One of the biggest challenges we face as educators is that students will go home and they will play Civilization for 10 hours straight like it's nothing. And yet, we can't get them to study or engage with chemistry or history for that much time. When people play games, they are learning, but often they're not quite learning the things we wish they were learning. They're not learning how to do their taxes or financial aspects of their life or chemistry or history or whatever. They're learning the rules of the game. So how do you bring that gamification, that very visceral, exciting, engaging education to people on the topics that you need, okay? Virtual reality sounds like it could be a way forward, right? How many of you would prefer to read a textbook or instead maybe hop in to this environment that you see right here? Who goes for the VR experience? Yeah, absolutely. It looks much more visceral, much more interesting. The things that could happen to you there might be exciting, dramatic, unexpected, right? So can we use XR for education, for training? Can we use it to help people socialize? The pandemic was a very difficult time for many. And we saw an explosion in online virtual meeting spaces, some of which are still pretty popular today. How many of you have ever seen or played or known someone who's played Roblox? Heck yeah. How many of you during the pandemic played around with VR chat? Anyone? That's more than I thought. Wow. If you haven't heard of VR chat, well, here we are.
And here is sometimes what saves people's lives, or what gets them up out of bed in the morning. I am a teacher for Helping Hands, a sign language community here in VR chat, and Cinderella, and we're gonna call it this Christmas.
Slow. Quick. Slow. If I had confidence that I could teach dance as a living in VR, I totally would do exactly that.
With a long-distance relationship, having VR is a game changer.
We are 5,000 miles apart, but we're gonna try our best to make it work.
This year has been really hard. The thing that has kept me sane has been VR and the VR community. I would not have weathered this without you guys. 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year!
You can be who you've always wanted to be, and you can, in a way, start over.
We can come together and support each other. This community means a lot to me, and I really want them to know that they're loved.
It's been a year since I've seen Kevin's IRL body.
Right? So, not just during the pandemic, but in general, a lot of people have had really nice kind of social experiences via some of these applications. And the ability to put yourself in an environment and actually look around, to actually be able to articulate your hands and limbs, to gesture, to do a sign language class in a virtual space with people from around the world. Like, look at this image. This is a bit goofy, right? It's a little bit unexpected, but this is real for so many people. It matters. What about field trips? What about history? We talked a little bit earlier about education. It is very, very expensive to get a bunch of students out to a location, particularly if it's far away. And what if you just are kind of in the middle of nowhere? What do? Well, here's an idea for you.
Choose. This huge thing with the 4 funnels. I thought she was something out of the ordinary. My gosh. She was a lost word in luxury.
Head for that ship on the horizon. Transfer your passengers and tell the captain to come at once. We require urgent assistance.
Straight for another boat.
Women and children, final call!
Right, it's time to go.
No! No! My daddy! No!
She had everything. Everything that you could think of. She was a beautiful ship.
So this is a place that basically no one could visit before VR, right? The idea that we're going to not only transport you to a new place, but also a new time. We're going to let you relive historical moments from close up is pretty interesting and pretty exciting. It's pretty powerful. But if you do want to take a field trip to a place that actually exists, did anyone ever do that in like high school? Hop on a bus, go across the country to someplace? Where to, Nikki?
We actually went to Quebec.
Quebec? Okay. Very good. I went to, and I think many high schools have a trip to Washington, D.C., right? So across the country, that is a long trip. It's also very expensive. A lot of my classmates couldn't go. But for cheap, thanks to VR and these new technologies, I don't know. How about we go to Mount Everest?
In this special exhibition to Everest in VR, we invite you to journey across the mountain, where you'll discover interactive audio and visual guides that explore the environment, history, and the physical challenges that climbers face on Mount Everest. We hope these stories inspire and drive you to embark on adventures of your own.
This is a really, really cool project. It basically uses a lot of actual real-life footage, 3D camera footage, that's been taken, and they place you in the center of that so you can see what it really looked like in those moments. They also created a 3D kind of recreation of the mountain, so you can also go up, walk around yourself, interact in a virtual way as well. Okay, learning about the mountain, learning about its geographical features, its many routes to the top, and different concerns that you have when you're trying to make it up there. The mixed reviews right here are mainly because it's just a really short game and maybe a bit too expensive, but really, really cool stuff, okay? And things like improved commerce. There are applications you can use that will solve the question of, wow, this chair looks really cool, but is it going to fit stylistically or even fit from a size perspective into my room, right? Actually, I think you'll use some of those on your first homework assignment, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. One really powerful thing about XR is that it's very new, okay? And new technologies bring a lot of disruption and change, okay? If you want to innovate as a small team in the video game space, that's really hard. Video games have been around for a long time. There are countless enormous corporations who will be there to fight you. But XR is pretty new, okay? There isn't that much competition. There aren't that many gigantic, powerful, established players to get in your way, okay? This is the moment when a new technology arrives, when small teams, when university teams can really shine, okay? Now, you know, NeuroVR was made by just one UMich student, right? Super impressive stuff. He got a research paper out of that, actually. This right here is one of my favorite XR applications as well, and this was made by a team of about 3 UMich students. Downtown, this is Spellbound AR. They make AR pop-up books and scavenger hunts for pediatric medical care.
Spellbound's a mobile app that uses augmented reality technology to bring paper books to 3D life. It can recognize what it's looking at and pull characters out in 3D. It can read the story aloud, and you can interact with the paper page in ways you've never imagined before.
We work with hospitals who are actively seeking to improve the pediatric patient experience and who want to arm our child life specialists with tools to distract, engage, and entertain.
Basically, you've got a kid, they need to go in for a very scary medical procedure. How do you keep them calm? How do you distract them? How do you turn the hospital into not just a scary, painful place for them? Okay? And these days, this company, they're downtown, they do a lot of rehabilitation stuff. Not exactly like NeuroVR. What they do is they have a gigantic scavenger hunt system where they place a bunch of AR stickers around different locations in their hospital. And this is meant to get their patients, little kids, walking around, get them exercising, get them rehabilitating after surgery. Not an easy thing for them to do. They scan the AR codes and the characters pop to life. They can train them. They can use them in mini games, collect them like Pokemon, and it's a huge hit. Beat Saber is one of the biggest games or biggest products in XR, but it was only made by a team of about 3 to 4 people. And it was in the Czech Republic, okay? Which is a really cool place, but it's not exactly known as a hotbed for XR and game dev. This is all to say that XR can be impactful in unexpected, surprising ways, okay? But it's also quite unexpected and surprising, the teams who are making all of this happen. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, this is the time when you can have an impact and make a difference in this new technology. And that's not going to last forever, okay? So the big gist here, the big takeaway is that there have been many different hype waves for many different technologies. Some technologies find their market. They find their ability to have impact, and some, unfortunately, like 3D TV, never do. And they waste away. Their potential wasted. We can help. When a new technology comes out, it is our duty to explore that space and figure out what the technology can do and genuinely do. There's a lot of hype, but you got to cut through that. You have to focus on helping out people with their genuine, real deal problems. And it doesn't matter if I'm talking about crypto. I make fun of crypto a bit in this course, but I like it for certain things. It's just very, very niche. And of course, the smartphone revolution, okay? There was never any doubt, right? This thing took off straight for the moon. Its impact has been felt around the world in countless ways. But things like 3D TV, motion controls, right? AI, LLMs, generative art. It seems like last year LLMs and AI were going to change the universe. And lately, it seems in the past couple months, like there have been some headlines maybe questioning that. It's hard to know exactly where we are in the hype cycle for the latest iteration, the latest wave of AI, okay? But during this course, we will learn to identify these things. We're going to talk about technology and hype, and we're going to try and help these new technologies, in particular XR, find where it always should be, okay? Find true impact, find genuine problems for real people that it can solve, okay? We don't need to entertain the masses. If we can affect one person's life, then niche will be enough, okay? So, where XR falls may very well depend on us. The killer app for XR could be in this room, in someone's head, okay? It could be at the showcase at the end of the semester, all right? It's a little bit cheesy, but it's true, okay? This is a young technology, and a lot of people are trying, but it doesn't quite have that XR hit yet, okay? Daniel put in a lot of work, okay? He put in a ton of work just by himself on Neuro VR. He got a paper out of his contributions, and he changed my opinion of what XR could be, okay? When I looked at XR, VR, and AR, I just thought about entertainment, but I was missing everything, okay? And we need to make sure that doesn't happen with XR, that doesn't happen with new technologies, okay? And if you think that Mr. Zuckerberg is going to go find the next XR killer app, he's going to make it happen by himself, I don't think that's going to happen, okay? I think he needs some help. In fact, Mr. Zuckerberg, Tim Apple, okay, may need some help. And so maybe we should answer the call. In fact, actually, so I used to work for Mr. Zuckerberg. He sent me a message just for the class, okay? And I want to show it to you. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Congratulations on becoming an alpha tester for Metaverse. You will soon be joining the VR space with Spatial Audio, accompanied by Mark Zuckerberg, who will test this environment with you.
Hey, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about the Metaverse. Starting with the most important experience of all, Sweet Baby Riz. You're going to get to bring things from the physical world into the Metaverse.
I like barbecuing, and I guess I'm a Sweet Baby Riz fanboy.
New alert. Mark Zuckerberg offers you his Sweet Baby barbecue sauce. Nod your Metaverse licensed headset to accept. Shake your Metaverse licensed headset to decline. Headshake detected. You are about to decline Mark Zuckerberg. Nod your Metaverse licensed headset to confirm the rejection. Shake your Metaverse licensed headset. Head nod detected. You decline Mark Zuckerberg. Mark did not like that. Meta has dispatched a hitman to your location at Mark Zuckerberg's request. You may feel the Meta licensed headset tightening. Soon you will be unable to remove it. This is normal and follows the terms of service that you previously accepted.
So this is to say that, right, new technologies need our help. We got to explore the space, and if we think that big companies like Apple, in 2019, like Apple and Meta are going to be able to do that, those big companies, they do not move fast, okay? And they do not care about niche impact, okay? We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But before that, who on earth are we, okay? Who is it up here teaching you? Patrick, are you here? Right in the back. Go for it.
Hi everyone, I'm Patrick. I'm a senior and I took this class 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, I have a lot of experience in AR development. I'm in a project team called Quad AR interfaces for astronauts. And we use the Microsoft HoloLens to yeah, that's for last year. But we'll be at the festival today. In the past, I've worked for Bosch as a software engineering intern, and we made autonomous parking technology. And last year, I worked at Walmart on an AI team, but I also saw or just talked to a lot of like the AR and VR engineers at Walmart. They have a lot of cool stuff in the store. Yeah, feel free to talk to me about any of those experiences, and happy to work with you all.
Very good. Thank you, Patrick. My name is Austin Yarger. I'm a lecturer here in the College of Engineering, the Computer Science Department. I worked at Electronic Arts for a while on the Sims franchise, as well as a bunch of their mobile technology. Worked at Facebook, now known as Meta, for a little bit. I did some simulations for DARPA, and I currently run the International Association of Game Designers, IGDA, in Ann Arbor. Okay? I have an educational games company as well, yeah, I've been teaching this course, I think, for a couple years. It's still a fairly new course. And on campus, I teach most of the game development courses, including EECS 494 and the new EECS 498 game engine architecture. Okay? So you can ask me questions about any of those if you want to. We have a phenomenal organization on campus. It's called Alternate Reality Initiative, ARI. And if you are interested in XR, VR, AR, you can surround yourself with a bunch of people who feel similarly by joining a group like this, okay? They do hackathons, they do meetings, and they do a lot of training as well. So if you're ever feeling maybe like you're a little bit behind or you just want to learn a little bit faster, participating in a club like this will probably help you with that, okay? There are other orgs as well. So game dev is kind of adjacent to XR, but many of the concepts that you'll need for XR, like learning game engines, will also be something that game developers know and practice a ton, okay? So if you're interested in them, they do a lot of hackathons as well, focused on games. They have weekly meetings, and they have a lot of really, really great content, and they're a great group, okay? All right. So today, we have a couple things we need to accomplish. Number one, we need to help you get a feel for whether this course is a good fit for you, okay? We're going to talk about what this course is, what the kind of workload expectations are, like what kind of things you're going to be doing, and you can kind of decide if this is a good deal for you, or maybe another class would be a slightly better fit, okay? So we'll go over that today. And then one last thing I want to do is I want to show you, give you a quick introduction to Unreal Engine, okay? Which is one of the main technical ecosystems that you will be in for probably about half of this course, okay? And so let's go ahead and do that, but I want to take a 5-minute break halfway through our lectures, 2 hours long. We usually do a 5-minute break. You can use the restroom if you want to. You can ask me questions if you want to. Yeah, I will throw some music on, and we will see you in 5 minutes, okay? See you then.
I was checking to see
Hey. Yeah.
Today, I have another class on 3 p.m.,
Okay.
which means I will miss half hour of the course.
That's
Will
okay.
that be a problem for me?
So you can enjoy the course like the Twitch stream. We'll upload the videos to YouTube as well, so you can participate remotely if you want to.
Yeah, because I only will miss like the half hour for the course on Wednesday. But I saw there is a participation part for the course.
So that's meant for kind of other things, right?
Oh.
So are you being a good teammate? Are you, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about it.
Thank you so much. So I'll be fine.
Yep. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not now. Like, I'm still trying to figure out exactly. Studio engine. One of those. No. Like there is a president even, but we have them in the fall. Yeah. No, so it's every fall. It's like it's like every officer is like sure. It's a fall. The website seems. I'm really excited for that. I'm taking taking class on video game music. And like summer, it's like. But I'm excited though. It should be good. The problem is at the top of my class. Then I took that out and excited for it already. Game engine. That's why. And then I guess there's like an game one that I could go do, but that would I mean,
it is AERker, so yeah. So this is just my email address. Yep.
that's my
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to it. So, a big question of the day is, what exactly is EECS 440? What is this course, and is it going to be a good fit for you? Okay, well, number one, and right away, this is an extended reality course with a focus on non-recreational stuff, right? On social impact, okay? And that means you're going to be creating some really cool XR applications during this course. I'd like to show you a couple. This one, a fitness app, okay? Urban Rush. Let's take a look. Oh, I don't think this is the trailer. Do we have the trailer? Let's see. Do they have the trailer? Oh, they do. Yes, right here.
Are you ready for the ultimate fitness challenge? Introducing Urban Rush, the virtual reality fitness game that will push you to your limits. With Urban Rush, you have to dodge cars and squat grenades, all while getting a full body workout. But the challenges don't stop there. You'll have to fight off zombies and robots to survive, and with new levels and challenges added regularly, the possibilities are endless. It's getting harder and harder to make time for fitness. Let's get fit at home while having fun.
So one really cool thing about this application is that the designers are able to create whatever workout they want by using the obstacles in the environment in a certain pattern. So if the development team wants you to do a bunch of squats, right? Kneel, get up, what they can do is they can put one of these kind of blocking banners, right, that you have to go under, and then right after it, they can put coins up in the air. So you have to go low and then hop up, and then go low and hop up again. If they do this 3 or 4 times, suddenly, like, they've got you doing some very intense jumping jacks, basically. Anyway, very, very cool stuff. Very intense, like shockingly intense. In fact, if you go to the course website, I think one of our GIFs is people playing it. Let's see. No, this is Drunken Driving Simulator. Yeah. That one is boxing, athletic training. This one is automatic translation through your mobile device as you look at objects. Here we go. Here it is. And there's, yeah, someone gets hit, right? By the way, how many of you have gone to this website? How many of you knew there's a game at the top? No? Okay. If you beat this, I won't give you extra credit. But if you beat this and get to the final area, I might give you a sticker or something. Okay, we'll have to see. It's very, very hard. Okay. Anyway, right? Another huge one, in fact, maybe one of my favorites ever in this course is Face AR. This is a project that was only made in about 4 weeks by a team of about 4 people. And yet it ended up getting a SNAP grant. So they actually got money to continue this and commercialize it on the Snap AR platform. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Face AR is an augmented reality app that helps patients with facial disabilities perform exercises through immersive games. So the face tracking technology used by this app is a lot more useful, engaging the patient rather than just looking at themselves when they don't want to in front of the mirror, but to use the app where there are games that engage them and they're able to quantify or by direct feedback in AR what their exercises are doing their face would be very helpful. Currently, facial therapists are difficult to find and not readily available, and this app would provide access to everyone.
This team, I was amazed, right? So usually when you want to test your software or products out on patients, in a medical sense, you have to go through a ton of red tape, right? And that's something that this team kind of got around, I guess. They cold called a bunch of people in Michigan medicine and had just enough time to get in with a patient who had some loss of their facial kind of motor controls. And so they were able to get their app in the hands of exactly the kind of person who can benefit most. So absolutely amazing. No surprise that they got funded to keep working on it. And I look forward to seeing their future versions. So this is an extended reality course, but it might not be exactly clear what that means, okay? When it comes to XR, you're basically dealing with different altered states of reality, okay? The X, you can kind of think of it as a variable. right? You can swap it out for whatever you want, okay? One very popular means of doing that is VR, okay? The idea that we're going to put a headset on your face, we are going to completely change the reality that you perceive, okay? It will be a completely new digital reality. And if you've never done this before, it really is exceptional, right? That first time putting on a VR headset is a very magical moment. And you'll be making things like that in this course. In fact, your first assignment is actually a magic show. And so you'll be doing that, I think, next week. That's technically your second assignment. Okay, so virtual reality. We also have augmented reality. The idea that we mostly want our actual reality, except we want to alter small things within it. So in the context of Pokemon Go, we want to take the world around you and we want to add value to the landmarks around you, right? We want to add Pokemon to the environment that you can follow around to discover new local things and history in your local community, okay? In the middle here, you've got mixed reality, right? And on this kind of spectrum, you basically have the question of how much of your reality do you want? Currently, VR devices, the things in front of you on all these desktops, and AR devices are kind of separate, right? However, long term, and we're seeing this with things like Apple, right, Vision Pro, it's very likely that these devices will merge. These devices will be capable of completely replacing your reality in a VR style, but will also be capable of using cameras on the exterior to let you keep a lot of your reality and just augment what you want to, okay? Anyway, so this is an XR course, which means it is a VR course, okay? You're going to be doing a lot with virtual reality, okay? And this can be very engaging. Look at this poor guy. He is so into it that unfortunately he is not being super safe, okay? People get into it that much. VR is very emotional and visceral. People can have extreme reactions to it. Oh gosh. This guy is on a roller coaster, a virtual roller coaster, and when he leans forward, it is so immersive he has forgotten where he is, okay? This is actually a bit of a problem. Has anyone seen Inception? Kind of old Christopher Nolan movie about dreams, okay? It's actually a major plot point in that film. If you believe yourself to be in a fake virtual environment so much, you might compromise your ability to function in the real environment, okay? Here's a kind of a cruel one. This is someone going over a roller coaster, and it is a very dramatic experience for them, okay? People get into VR in a very serious way. This is a grandmother, I believe, playing a horror game, okay? And it is very exciting to do so in VR, okay? So as far as this course goes, we're going to focus mainly on desktop computer VR applications, okay? This side of the course is going to be completely powered by Unreal Engine, okay? Unreal Engine is a humongous, industry-grade, bleeding-edge game engine, okay? If you want to make projects, visualizations, simulations, games with the best technology, with the most bleeding-edge graphics, you're probably going to do it on Unreal, okay? The focus is going to be on interaction systems and architectural and design pattern decisions that make it really nice to build interactable environments, okay? We're going to introduce you to the affordance design pattern, which is one of the most powerful patterns that you can see not just in the VR, but in games in general, okay? It makes it very easy to create interactions and associate those interactions with different objects, okay? We're going to have several assignments to get started with VR. You're going to have an assignment this week, right, beginning today, to kind of explore VR, get a feel for how it works, create tiny little experiments in Unreal Engine. And then, in a couple weeks, we're going to start on our first major project. It's going to be a VR Unreal Engine project. It's going to be a two-person project. So you will want to find a teammate if you can. If you don't find a teammate in this course, don't worry. We'll talk more about this on Wednesday. But you will be assigned a teammate at random if you don't find one yourself, okay? But you're going to be basically creating really interesting interactable VR apps. You will be next week creating a magic show. So you will be programming some magical spells that transform your audience members after the curtain opens up and they clap for you, transform your hopping audience members into objects of some sort when you point at them. Okay? That'll get you started. Your first major project will be recreating a part of our CSC campus community, one of our pretty well-known computing laboratories, okay? It has since been destroyed. You'll be recreating the space on campus, and you'll be filling it with whatever you want, okay? You'll be able to fill it with characters and students, interactions, for instance, light switches, the copy machine, which will actually duplicate whatever interactable object is nearest to it. And you'll also have some freedom. So in this case, the team decided that they wanted to reveal that CSE is actually the Matrix, okay? And so when you click on this red pill over here, you end up in the Matrix where you can fly around the city in VR, and it's quite a time, okay? And then your final project in the course can basically be anything that you want. You'll have teams of 4 to 5, and you could make a VR project if you wanted to. Here is a VR project about driver's education.
Revolutionary virtual reality driver's ed simulator. Immerse yourself in VR to learn the rules of the road without any of the pressure that comes with it. With the power of VR, we are able to provide the most realistic simulator for driver's ed. We quickly prepare our students for the road by forcing them to actively observe their virtual surroundings. Driver Ed empowers their students with knowledge of the rules of the road before they buckle their seatbelt for the first time. We aim to remedy the fear first-time students have getting behind the wheel by making the learning process less daunting. Driver Ed will focus on having options for driver's ed service programs. We envision eventually providing VR headsets and driving wheel controllers as part of our total package, as well as creating a driver's ed ecosystem to allow driver ed to thrive. With the power of driver ed technology, students will be able to learn traffic laws and leading good signs in the most immersive way possible. Driver Ed will change the way driver's education is conducted, and we will strive to create more knowledgeable and safer cohorts of new drivers.
So the team actually recreated the M-City area for autonomous driving that you can find a little bit further into North Campus. I'll say, like, the teams only get 1 week to finish their trailer, so they usually end up pretty cheesy, and I love them a lot. But that music was, like, shockingly epic for, like, a driver's education. Listen to this.
Driver Ed will change the way driver's education is conducted, and we will strive to create more knowledgeable and safer cohorts of new drivers.
You listen to that music, this thing's going to save the world. All right. It's good stuff. All right. So this is a VR course, right? No surprise there, but it's also an AR course, okay? That is the second half of this course. And so we'll be doing stuff with augmented reality. We will be making little experiments on our phones. We'll be creating visualizations. Your major project on the AR side of things is going to be a Pokemon Go clone, okay? If you've enjoyed Pokemon Go in the class, you'll be making that for your second major project, all right? If that sounds daunting, don't worry too much. You will receive a lot of guidance on these projects, and in general, you'll receive a lot of guidance in this course, okay? We'll talk about this more on Wednesday, but this course is designed to be a much more chill, kind of fun and playful experience than 494 is, and it's not going to be too hard, okay? But the focus is going to be on, in particular, mobile augmented reality. Okay, wearable augmented reality, like what you see with the Vision Pro, is becoming much more popular, but it remains the case that augmented reality is a little bit harder to get your hands on, and a lot of people don't have access to the equipment in the same way they do for VR devices, at least not yet, okay? Everyone pretty much has a phone, and almost everyone has a smartphone capable of AR today. And so that's what we're going to use for our projects, okay? But you'll also get a chance to experience wearable AR as well. In particular, your first homework assignment this week requires you to get at least a tiny bit of time with the Microsoft HoloLens, okay? You can actually do that today if you want to. My office hours will have these available. You can knock out that part of your assignment if you want to, All right. This half of the course, the AR half, is going to be powered not by Unreal Engine, but by the Unity game engine, okay? Unity is a very popular, well-known game engine that is meant for smaller interactive applications, mobile applications, AR applications, and is a good kind of complement to Unreal Engine, okay? We're going to focus in particular on interaction systems, UI, because any sort of mobile app has a ton of UI you have to care about, and data manipulation and management, okay? You'll have several easy assignments at the beginning of the semester to kind of get a feel for AR. That's going to start this week, and you'll have 1 3-week project on the AR side of things in which you will recreate Pokemon Go, okay? A miniature version of it, but it's usually a pretty fun assignment, okay? All right. The first thing you're going to do beginning next week is you're going to create a small little mini auto show, okay? A visualization of various vehicles that you can actually kind of watch fly around and run around your living room, the exterior, right, wherever you happen to be, okay? This will get you warmed up with creating your own mobile applications, and then we will have your major AR project, 3 weeks, partners, so a team of 2. You'll be creating your own kind of custom version of Pokemon Go, okay? So I hope you look forward to that. An example right here, this is a little bit more of a kind of a spaceman-themed Pokemon Go. Walking around, planting trees in this case, defending those trees from squirrels to bring in revenue, yeah. So here's a planting mode right here. Basically, you're filling up Ann Arbor, Tree City, USA. You're building out its allotment of trees of various types and earning resources to unlock new trees and convince people to walk around and learn the history of the local community, okay? On the final project, you could choose not to do an VR app. You could do an AR app, okay? And this is Move AR, right? Patrick did a phenomenal job and his team. This is an application dedicated to kind of helping you perfect and correct your form when you're doing various exercises. So let's take a look.
If you're struggling with learning proper form while exercising, then Move AR can be the solution for you.
To use Move AR, select an exercise, visualize it in the real world, walk around to see it from all angles, follow along with the example to learn the proper form, and record yourself to review. The app also gives additional guidance in each exercise, including which muscle groups are being targeted and recommended sets of reps.
What's amazing about Move AR is that it doesn't just stop at exercising. Physical therapists can use Move AR to ensure their patients rehabilitate with proper form. They can create custom exercises, motion capture, assign patient-specific exercise plans, and track patient data. And there are so many more applications.
For all your exercise needs, use Move AR.
So you're probably getting the sense that rehabilitation and medical space is huge for XR right now, and it really is. However, please think about unique ways to use XR in unique fields as well. I think last time we had a team use XR for musical education. They had a really, really cool set of puzzle pieces that you could put together, each one representing a different instrument. And when you did that, the AR camera would detect it and change and bring more instruments into the music that was currently playing, okay? We had also a very, very cool one. I think I'll probably show it to you later. Basically, if you have lung issues, right? If you're having difficulty breathing, a device was created to measure your ability to expel air and pull in air, and that was tied into mini games that you could play. So that one is also kind of medical, but extremely creative. Move AR is very creative as well. So it's an augmented reality course. It's a VR course, but you might have noticed we've mentioned 2 game engines, okay? And that means that this really is, at its heart and soul, a game engines course as well, okay? You'll be learning 2 game engines in this course, all right? And if you don't know what a game engine is, it's a piece of software that makes it much easier to construct virtual digital realities, simulations, visualizations, and stuff like that, okay? Game engines are used in film production. They are used in architecture, okay? They are used everywhere that you need to create some sort of environment that is interactive and simulatable, okay? And there are a lot of great game engines out there. The two that we're going to focus on are Unity and Unreal. And as spooky, right, as it might be to say, you know, we're going to learn two engines, the good news for us is that Unity and Unreal are extremely similar engines, okay? They have slightly different UI, they have different names for a bunch of their concepts, but at their heart, they are basically kind of the same, okay? This is the Unity engine, all right? This is the Unreal engine. And just looking at these two images, you can kind of get a feel that they do a lot of the same thing, okay? Right? We'll talk about this a little bit more in the future, but your assets, the things that make up your world, the what is your world made of, it's at the bottom, right there, okay? You've got this beautiful viewport so you can see into the world you're constructing, and you've got a list on the side that helps you in a list, easily searchable form, understand what objects, what actors you've got there, okay? When you click on something, you can see bits of logic and code attached to it, all right? And so, hopefully, by the end of this course, I'll convince you that, yeah, actually, most game engines pretty much have the same way of doing things these days. In much the same way that after you learn C++, learning Java is actually kind of easy. You will get to a point where, hey, you already kind of know Unreal, so Unity is pretty easy, right? Or you know Unreal and Unity, and that makes you pretty darn employable, actually. But that means you can easily learn Godot, okay? Or GameMaker or different engines if you want to, okay? So do not despair. Learning two game engines is not easy, but you will receive a ton of guidance on all of the assignments in this course, okay? In particular, you receive even more guidance than you do in EECS 494. This is generally regarded as a significantly easier course than 494. Okay? Though it is still a course where you have to put in a good bit of time, okay? So don't underestimate it, but don't fear it. Certainly don't fear it, okay? The engines are more similar than they are different, and learning the game engines and how to make interesting things and interactions in these engines is a significant part of your homework in this course, all right? And the good news is that if you know a lot of game engines, like, there are quite a few opportunities out there, okay? Now, tech in general is in a bit of a malaise as far as recruiting goes. Hopefully that turns around pretty soon. A lot of my colleagues and peers in industry believe it will. And so hopefully that'll change soon, okay? Game engines are used everywhere, not just in games, not just in XR, but in, like, the visualizers, the in-car experience panels of vehicles, okay? Right, we've already seen rehabilitation. Unity, the game engine, signed a several million-dollar contract with the U.S. Department of Defense for, like, training and stuff like that. Like, engines are a really big deal, even to entire countries, right? Pretty interesting headline I saw a couple of years ago on that. And so this is, in a way, a game engines course, but it's also a big social impact course as well, okay? I love recreation. Entertainment is socially impactful. However, we have a big course that focuses entirely on that. It's EECS 494. And so in this course, we will not be focusing on recreation, okay? We will be focusing on other means of impact, okay? And so we're talking about those things we saw earlier, right? Fitness, health, right? Training, education, socialization, field trips, commerce, right? There are many different ways you can be creative, and you can use XR for some sort of impactful cause, okay? And as you think about what you might want to make for your final project, you're going to have about 5 weeks. That's it. Not a lot of time. You're going to have a team of 4. Think about what you might want to make. And the first way to start there is think about what matters to you, okay? Do you have any particular causes that you're interested in, okay? Do Do you have any particular challenges that you're really interested in that you think society is facing that you might want to tackle in an interesting way? Okay? Think about that, and you'll have a really, really fun and engaging Project 3. Okay? This is also a very entrepreneurial course. Okay? You'll be using the software known as Jira. This is a very common industry software. It'll help you a lot on your internships and your first few jobs if you know it. Not everyone loves Jira. Okay? How many of you have used Jira before? Okay? Good few of you. Excellent. It is the kind of thing where you just really want to learn it. It is not the most enjoyable software, but it is ubiquitous. And in particular, it's really good at helping you allocate resources. It's very good at helping you break up and organize the tasks that matter to a project. And when you're working on a team, it helps you kind of assign those tasks to people without stepping on each other's toes or working on the same stuff. Okay? So you will find it to be useful. Another thing we're going to do is basically every lecture, we're going to take 5 minutes at the beginning, and we're going to investigate an XR startup of some kind. Okay? We're going to try and evaluate it from several different metrics. Its impact, its financial sustainability, its novelty, stuff like that. And hopefully this will give you some ideas of what XR is currently being used for out there and where you might be able to have an impact at the end of the course. Okay? So another thing, this is still a fairly young course. This is actually its first semester of having a permanent number. It used to be known as EECS 498. It is now known as EECS 440. Okay? And so we are still making changes to the course, and there's still some bugs in it, okay? In particular, XR technologies and software are moving very fast right now and changing a lot. So there's a very good chance you might run into some friction or some ambiguity on some of your assignment specs, okay? When you encounter those questions, please ask on Piazza. Please DM us on Discord. Let us know, and we'll try and fix things up, okay? Expect some bugs, expect a little bit of missing content. We're continuing to iterate this course, and in general, the workload is designed to require about an hour or maybe a bit less per day of work from you, okay? So, that is not a ton of time that you have to spend unless you start skipping days, okay? You skip a few days, you don't put any time in to your assignments, and suddenly it's not 1 hour a day. Suddenly the math says you have to do 3 hours for the next couple of days, okay? That is not fun. This course is pretty chill, and so long as you put in the time and effort, there is no exam in this course that's going to come out of nowhere and wreck you, and wreck your grade, okay? You put in the time and effort, you're going to get an A in this course, okay? But, like, it's not nothing to create AR and VR apps, okay? You do a lot of stuff in this course, which means there's a certain amount of difficulty and friction that is inherent to it, okay? So, yeah, we're going to do the best we can with the course. Please let us know your feedback. Please let us know how things are going for you, and we'll keep it improving every semester, okay? There's this button at the bottom of every assignment. You click it, you give your feedback on an assignment, you get a tiny amount of extra credit every time you do that, okay? So please do that. Please let us know what you think, and help us find bugs in the assignments and the course software, okay? All right. So I want to show you a couple more projects that are really cool, and then I think I want to show you some Unreal Engine, okay? This one is Atomic Builder, right? Chemistry is kind of my go-to for a subject that I personally don't find super interesting to study, but I love the impact, right? So how can you make chemistry more interesting to study? How can you make it, right, something that's so abstract, something that's so tiny you can't even see it? How do you make that real? How do you make that visceral and interesting? Let's find out.
Hey you! Who? Me? Yes, you. Do you have problems visualizing organic chemistry, hydrocarbon molecules in 3D space?
Yes, I do have problems visualizing organic chemistry, hydrocarbon molecules in 3D space.
Well, I have a tool just for you. Introducing Atomic Builder. Atomic Builder is a chemistry learning tool designed to help visualize complex hydrocarbon structures in 3D space using VR technology. See with your own eyes how complex molecular structures would interact in reality. Place atoms next to each other to bond them together. Once bonded, move together as a complete structure. Follow our interactive tutorials to get used to the controls. After you've mastered the controls, utilize the knowledge mode for more difficult structures. Boost your organic chemistry grade with Atomic Builder.
So a very cool application. There's sometimes this notion that you can't make games in this course, and that's not true. This is a good example. This is a application that has a really fun challenge mode in which you need to build out molecules to succeed. And it does that via a game, right? So you're welcome to use games and game design to achieve some sort of social impact purpose beyond recreation. It's okay, of course, if it's fun, all right? But it has to be a secondary objective. Okay, let's see, what else might I want to show? That's really cool. Foreign language learning. This is a very cool one. This is Shared Space VR. I'll show you this briefly. This is not something you're probably going to make in this course, but this is a company that's local. This is Shared Space VR. So normally you get two VR people into the same place. Very dangerous because they'll run into each other. They can't see each other. Here, however, it is shared space. And so you've got 4 people with 4 VR sets, all of them synchronized via the network, and they don't run into each other.
That was awesome.
Glad you had a good time.
That was so much fun. Alrighty. Let's put this down a little bit.
Solid.
Got a robot on our 6? Not anymore. Come on, your teammates. Verbal communication. Like wake from a dream when you get out of it. You know, like when you close your eyes and you're dreaming and you think that you know what's happening in front of you in your dream and you wake up, you're like, oh, I'm in my bedroom. Pretty close to that.
So super cool stuff and a very difficult technical challenge to synchronize all of that and make sure people don't run into each other. However, it would not do well in this course because this is mainly for recreation. Though it'd be kind of interesting to see, like, can you imagine some like synchronization or team building challenges in a virtual environment like that? Like people who are training in boot camp and stuff like that have to undergo some really interesting challenges to build their teamwork and communication skills. You can't help but wonder if maybe something similar could be done here. Anyway, all right. So I think we've talked about enough. What you should do today is when you go to Canvas, you'll see a big schedule here. Okay, if you've taken my other courses, this looks very familiar. Okay, reading the schedule is very important. If you put your eyes to the left column, okay, you'll see the date. You can move your eyes to the right to see everything that you should be thinking about and working on. Okay, so today is the 26th, so I put my eyes here. I can see the lecture plan, which means I can review anything we talked about today, announcements and all that good stuff. I can also get to all the assignments that have unlocked. So I can get to the assignment specs, I can read through those, and I can begin working on those if I want to. And that would be a very good idea to do so pretty quickly. If you want to take home your own headset, which means you don't have to come into the Viz Lab, the Viz Studio, to do assignments. You can enter the equipment lottery. This is a lottery in which you sign up, and there's a chance you end up with a take-home headset for the remainder of the course, okay? Now, these are not the world's best headsets. I kind of like them. They're okay. They're good enough, okay, for working at home. So fill this out if you want one. And in a week or so, we'll get those headsets to you if you win. All right? Otherwise, we'll talk about a lot of other syllabus stuff. We'll talk about other Canvas stuff on Wednesday. All right? What I want to do right now is I want to show you a game engine, okay? I want to show you Unreal, and I want to show you some VR. So how many of you have ever used a game engine before? Okay? Fantastic. Wow, you've got a lot of great knowledge. If you've never used a game engine, please note, like, they're big, very impressive, very fancy pieces of software. They can do a million things. And I'll tell you, the first time you learn a game engine, it's a bit blinding. There are so many things going on, so many tools to use, so many things to do. And just please don't worry about it, okay? This course is never going to leave you high and dry, okay? There's always going to be some guidance to help you out, to help you explore and get a feel for these very complex pieces of software. And so don't panic. Try and enjoy yourself, poke and prod things, and you'll eventually start to get a feel for the UI. We'll spend the first few weeks, actually, of this course walking you through Unreal Engine's UI, how to do interesting things in the engine, how to build out your logic for interesting interactions. And so today, I just want to show you a couple super basic things, okay? You do not need to memorize or write down or understand anything I'm going to say in the next 10 minutes, okay? I just want you to watch and enjoy, all right? This is Unreal Engine. This is the VR template. And if you look in the center of the screen, you got the viewport. If you right-click, your mouse will actually disappear, and you can look around using your mouse as if you're playing a traditional video game. You can then use the WASD keys to fly around, and it's really nice, okay? If you do not have a mouse for this course, you want to get one, okay? You use laptops, and that's just fine, but please do not use a touchpad for game engine work, okay? Very miserable experience. You can do it, but it's definitely challenge mode, and you're not going to enjoy yourself, okay? Fly around like this, have a good time. When I click objects, these are known as actors. This cube is an actor. I can raise it up if I want to. I can do whatever I want. I can make it big. I can change the, like that. I can change the angle of it. Let's get this thing back into the environment here. I can change its rotation on any axis that I want. I can do a lot of interesting things to the actors after clicking on them. But you know what I want to do right now? I want to just get VR going, okay? One of the first things you should do when you get into a new Unreal project is just make sure you can look around it in VR, okay? There are going to be some tutorials for you on getting these headsets to work on this week's homework assignment, okay? Let's see if I can launch this project, okay? I can't see my cursor, but I guess that doesn't matter. VR preview, okay? And now I can look around in the environment. Now, you can't see it very well, can you? Because the screen's small and the monitor might be far away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, what's the resolution of this? What's the resolution of our display? Let's see. It's not quite 4K. It's something weird. 2560 by 1600. Okay? Go ... and let's go to advanced settings. We're going to change the width to 2560 by 1600. And now we will get a much nicer view when we look around. Okay? So you can see this, right? All right. I'm going to hold the buttons on my controller, trying to wake them up a little bit. Hopefully they show up here. Hey, there's one hand and the other. So I can now walk around. I can look around. Hopefully I don't run into anything. Hopefully it looks pretty smooth for you. I can kind of flip my left stick here in order to force my head to turn without me actually turning. I can also use the other stick on my right hand to create this warping arc. This is sometimes called a warp. It's sometimes called a teleport. It's very common in VR applications. It allows you to move in the virtual space without moving in your physical space. This is really important because I've got a desk in front of me, and if I try and move too much in my actual IRL physical space, I'm going to hurt myself, okay? I can warp up here, and on the side of my controllers, I actually have some hidden buttons that cause my hands to actually do a grip inward. So I can walk over, and I can grab this little pistol here, and I can use the trigger which is on the underside of the controller to actually shoot a really cool little projectile, okay? I can also grab these blocks if I want to, and one of my favorite things to do is to dual wield, and you can interact with the physics of this environment. So it's a pretty cool situation, all right? And not too bad. When you're developing in VR, I highly encourage you to adjust the headset's size, so it's a good fit. In particular, you want to be able to very quickly go from your headset on, okay, to kind of maybe leaning it on top of your head. You kind of have to adjust this and mess around with it to get it feeling right. And it never quite feels right. It depends what headset you've got. But this makes it much faster to go from coding and adjusting things to testing, and then back to coding and adjusting things, okay? You'll get better at that workflow over time. So let's say that, this is really cool, but it's kind of boring, right? I want to add something awesome to my project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to all these folders. This is our project view, our content browser. And this is going to be where all the things in our project are. But there's not anything super interesting, right? I got some characters and stuff. I want to add something else. I want to get like a donut, okay? So how do I get a donut? Well, I'm going to go to add, and I'm going to go to add Quixel content, okay? Quixel is a tool that helps you download and find tons of super high quality assets for free in just a minute or so. So let's go, and I'm going to look up food, okay? Let's see, maybe I don't do a donut. Oh, we got a baguette. That's pretty cool. We got like chicken wings. What else we got? We got a pretzel. I'm thinking pretzel. Want to do it? Let's do it. I'm going to click on pretzel. I'm going to go to download. And while this downloads, this is my last class of the day, so my voice starts to get shot because we don't have a microphone in here. So please pardon my voice getting drier and drier as we go. Okay, so we've downloaded the pretzel. I'm going to click add here, and then I'm going to look at this folder again. I now have a new folder, Megascans, 3D Assets, and Pretzel, okay? And I've got a little pretzel mesh. I'm going to bring it out here. Look at how tiny it is, okay? Very small pretzel. Let's make it bigger. When the pretzel is clicked, our inspector window on the right has a lot of cool things we can adjust. If you're into and understand Unity, if you've taken my other courses, this area is where your components are and all your component properties, okay? In general, Unreal Engine components have 1 billion properties on them. They're very big and chunky, which is the opposite of how Unity does their components. Unity's tends to be very small and granular. But anyway, I'm going to adjust the scale of this pretzel by adjusting our scale transform values. And now, hopefully, I'm going to have a cool little pretzel here. Maybe I will rotate it so we can get a better view of it. Okay, then maybe I'll raise it up just a tiny bit. No, that looks fine. All right, let's play it and see how it looks. Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? Now the pretzel is not falling. It doesn't have any physics. So that's something we probably want to change. When you lift the pretzel up, it will not fall until you do a few things. You need to mark it as being movable. Okay, this causes the engine to consider it a moving object. That changes how lighting affects it and how it does collisions and stuff like that. We also need to select simulate physics. We can't do this until we've given the mesh a physical value, okay? You don't need to understand any of this, okay? If this is going over your head, that's totally fine. You'll learn it over the next 4 months. But basically, Unreal Engine doesn't know what shape this pretzel is from a collision and physics perspective. It knows what it looks like, but it doesn't quite know how it collides, okay? Now, what I'm going to say is I want this to collide like a basic sphere. So I just added a sphere to it, okay? I'm going to make the sphere, I don't know, maybe a little bit smaller like that. I don't know if that's going to look good or not. We'll have to see. But we've now added collision. This is basically a collider component, if you're familiar with Unity, to our pretzel, and I'm going to click Simulate Physics. What we want to see is we want to see this pretzel fall. That's all we want. And boom, there we go. It fell, all right? So this is pretty cool, but you know what I really want to do? when I shoot with these pistols, I don't want to shoot the boring little balls, okay? I want to shoot a pretzel. So how do we do that? Well, first, let's say, what if we want to have a bunch of pretzels? What do? Well, we've got one pretzel, and we can turn this into a pretzel class, a blueprint, as it's called in Unreal Engine. By going to this little button right here, it converts it into a reusable blueprint class. I'm going to call that class pretzel. Okay? It's now called pretzel blueprint. And let's see if I can find it. Where did it go? I'm going to search for it, pretzel, and here it is. I can now bring as many of these pretzels in as I want, easily. Now, you remember from EECS 281 and EECS 280, right? You've got classes, and then you've got instances of those class. The class can be thought of as a blueprint for all the instances that you create from it, okay? And this is very much the case in Unreal Engine. Unreal feels very new and unique, but in reality, when you program in Unreal, you're just programming the same way you always have been, okay? It looks a bit different. It's much more visual, but you're dealing with classes, instances of those classes, and you're kind of lining up different functions to accomplish some objective, okay? So we have all these pretzels, but I want to shoot the pretzels out of these guns, okay? I can click on the gun, I can go into its blueprint. Here it is. This, if you can believe it or not, this is code, okay? In Unreal Engine, you don't write textual code. You write visual scripting code, okay? These are blueprints, and most people love them, or they really don't, okay? And we're going to find out which one of those you are soon. But in general, this is just, it has all the features of normal programming, including comments right here, classes, variables, inheritance, all that good stuff. It just looks a bit different. So we found the location in our code base that spawns a projectile, thanks to a wonderful hint, a comment that the Unreal Engine developer has left for us in this template. Okay? Now we're spawning something that we don't want to spawn. If we look at this big blue node, as it's called, this is the spawn actor node. This is a function that basically creates a new object. It instantiates, it creates a new instance of a class, okay? Now it's creating a projectile right now, but I want to create a pretzel. So I'm going to search pretzel, and boom, there it is, okay? One big principle when you're working in game engines is you always make tiny changes and then you test. Never make too many changes at once. A few tiny changes, test, and see what happens. That's good iteration, okay? And let's take a look. I click the play button, and now I got to walk over there, and let's see if I can find the other controller. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to grab this, and let's see. All right, look at that. Pretzels are coming out of the end of my gun, okay? How does this look from your end? Is it kind of laggy? A little bit? Yeah, it's lagging over here for me as well. I think it's because my laptop is like, it's trying to output to HDMI and to this at the same time as it's also displaying it on the screen. So, yeah, hopefully your laptop won't struggle as much. And if it is, use these machines. These machines have very good graphics card and processors and should be able to handle all the assignments very easily. So one thing I want to do is I want to launch these pretzels, okay? Notice, and I know we've gone slightly over time, my office hours will be beginning very soon, right after the course. If you need to leave for something, you can. Otherwise, it's going to be about 3 more minutes, okay? I want to shoot the pretzels, right? I want them to launch, okay? But right now, we're spawning them in, and they're just dropping to the floor. So what can we do? Well, this function, okay, and believe it or not, this is a function, okay? Just like a normal function in C or C++, it just looks a bit different. It has a return value. And in particular, it's the return value of type actor, okay? This node right here is the pretzel that we just spawned. So we can do something with it. Okay? Let's say I want to set the velocity or set physics. Can I do that? Let's go set simulate physics. How about linear velocity? Set physics linear velocity. Let's do that. That sounds pretty good, okay? So we now have a function that will do this, that will set linear velocity. I got to hook that function in so it actually gets used. Let's hook it through here. This white line is the line of execution. You don't need to care about any of this, but basically execution will follow this white line and execute every function that it goes through, okay, in order. We need to give a new velocity, a new vector 3 to this function. So what kind of velocity do you want? Well, we know that in Unreal Engine, actually z is up. We know that because when you look in the main view, in the corner, you can see that the z-axis is up. So let's do a quick test, and let's see here. Here we are. Nope, not that. Here we are. Let's go ahead and see if we can make our pretzels go upward. Okay, I'm going to give it a 500 value. We're going to set the velocity to be 500 in the vertical direction. Okay, this looks a little bit smoother. I'm not sure why it was super laggy a moment ago. Okay, now I've got a gun here. Look at that. Our pretzels are now hopping when I spawn them. That's kind of cool. All right. And so now what we need to do is we need to somehow get the vector 3, which is a 3D point, or a 3D direction in our case. We need to get the direction that's coming out of the end of the pistol, okay? When I look at this blueprint, when I look at this pistol, right, there are a couple different parts of it, right? These are known as components, okay? And one of them happens to be a component called muzzle location that is right at the end of the barrel. And as the gun rotates, this red vector right here will point us in the direction we want to shoot, okay? So it's perfect. It's exactly what we need. And so I'm going to drag that muzzle location right in, and it becomes a variable for me, okay? I can then ask to get forward vector, which is that red arrow coming out, and I can plug it right in, okay? Now, this isn't going to work entirely because it's a really tiny vector, so it'll move a little bit in the direction. We need that to be a bigger vector, so let's multiply, okay? Let's multiply it. I want to get the multiply node, and I'm going to plug in a number here. Let's make literal float, okay? What should it be, like 800 maybe? Let's plug in this float, and then we're going to plug in the vector to it. We're now multiplying the vector and taking the result, a big vector, in the direction of our pistol, and plugging it in as the new velocity, okay? If this looks just crazy, like, yeah, it definitely does. This looks like spaghetti really fast. Compared to textual programming, it actually starts to look like spaghetti with lines flying everywhere, okay? Now, it's going to be slow programming as you learn this new way to program, as you learn this new language. Like any language, at the beginning, there's a lot of friction, and you're going to move slower, but it gets much faster and more satisfying as you go, okay? I promise you. We'll compile that code. It compiles just fine. And now let's do one final test, okay? And I'd like to grab both of these if I can. Can I? Oh, my table's in the way. There we go. All right. All right. And we got all these tiny little pretzels we're now shooting. And they don't despawn like those other balls, so we actually get to kind of watch them just pile up in the corner if we want to. Right? Okay. Very cool. And I can throw my guns away if I want to. All right. So, again, you didn't need to follow any of that, and you don't need to understand any of that yet. The assignments will walk you through what you need to know. And the main thing I hope you get away from this first week's assignments is I just hope you have fun, okay? First time with VR, I hope you have a great time putting that headset on. The software that you use when you launch your first VR headset is really fun, okay? And I think you're going to enjoy working in Unreal Engine if maybe you're more used to Unity. or maybe you've never done a game engine before, okay? So this week's homework is all about you getting some hands-on time with VR and AR, okay? It's not super hard, but it does take a bit of time, and in particular, one of your assignments requires you to get a tiny bit of time with the Microsoft HoloLens, okay? And so you will have 3 opportunities to do this, okay? One opportunity is literally right now. My office hours today only will go from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. Well, it's actually this week only. On Wednesday, I'll be back here, and after lecture, we'll do it again. I'll be here for 2 hours if you want to use these and complete your assignment. And then on Thursday, Patrick will be here from 2:30 to 4 with the HoloLens as well, so you can get that finished up. After that, you won't be able to use the HoloLens, okay? So you want to get that done for your first assignment, okay? Does anyone have any questions? All right, we went a little bit over time. I apologize. It was great to see you. I hope you have a wonderful semester and a fantastic day today. If you want to hang around and get a start on your assignments, I'll be here for 2 hours, okay? Otherwise, we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care, all. Hey.
I was wondering about like version control and
it's an important topic.
Is it already installed? The Unreal and stuff?
So it should be. So Unreal Engine is best used with a version control called Perforce, which is popular in the industry. However, it's a big pain to set up, probably a bit more than we need.
Right.
So I recommend using just Git as you normally would. And in particular, these computers do have Git installed. They have GitHub Desktop as well.
Oh, sorry.
And Unreal can be made and configured to work with Git.
Cool.
The major issue is when you're working on a team project, it's not really possible to merge, for instance, the same blueprints or the changes to the same blueprints. So you want to be careful to not clobber or work on the same thing at the same time. Otherwise, someone ends up losing work, which isn't the end of the world, but it's kind of annoying, right?
Well, nice to meet you. I'm Troy.
Good to meet you. Hey.
Hey, so I was just wondering, because I have a Quest 2. Do you think that would be pretty useful for...
Yeah, absolutely. So Quest, the Quest line, I think has been really good in the past. And you should be able to do a lot of your assignments from home. A lot of your VR assignments from home with the Quest 2. I would investigate it, see if you can get Unreal, like the Unreal VR template working on your Quest 2. And if you can, that's going to be great for you. The biggest concern you might have is you'll eventually have teammates who don't have access to the Quest 2.
Yeah.
And so they might be, developing the project with the Quest Pros in here. And you might be developing it at home on the Quest 2, and you might need to synchronize a little bit. But that shouldn't be too hard, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just for experiencing the VR thing. If I can do it at home, I might as well do it. Okay,
Yeah,
for sure. I'm Murad, by the way.
Good to meet you, Austin. Hey.
I have one question.
Yeah.
About the using these computers for
Yep.
Are we allowed to enter this room 24 hours?
So this is something we'll talk a bit more about on Wednesday. But you can enter this room 24 hours a day if you complete the Viz Studio training on Canvas. I'll also probably just send everyone's unique names to the staff, and what they usually do is they just give you all access. You just swipe at the door lock. Sometimes it's a bit finicky. You have to try it a few times, but you should be able to get in anytime. And in general, this is a really good place to work. The hardware is very good. The software is all set up and should be, everything you need for the course. On Wednesday, we'll talk about some friction that can come up. In particular, a lot of these machines are kind of network virtualized, which means that if you put your project on a certain location on the disk, that could be a networked location, which means any sort of I/O will be super slow to it, which means it could take an hour to open your Unreal project. So that's the thing you got to be careful of, but not a big deal this week. Okay. Hey.
I just wanted to let you know, week 3, I'm flying out of town for a conference.
Okay.
So I'll be gone the entire week, but I'll make sure I get that project done before then.
Sounds good. I don't think so. Let's look at week 3 really quickly.
That's what those
Okay. awesome. So like right here?
No.
Or this
should be
week?
September
Okay.
9th to 13th.
Oh, September 9th? Oh, so this is the first. This is the first part of the project. Yeah, so that's fine. So on this project, you'll have a teammate, and if your teammate isn't traveling, they could deal with it the first week, and then you come back and you can help them out and pay them back for it.
Would it be possible to start early?
So in general, we try not to do that, in part because students have a lot on their plate. However, your circumstance is kind of special, so if you really want access early, we'll probably give it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can email me about this later.
Okay,
right?
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey. Yeah. Yeah. No, so if you want to complete the HoloLens part, you just need to use the HoloLens and take a selfie of you using it. So that's it. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Is Patrick here? Pat, are you here? No? I think he might have bounced. So the thing, though, is that I haven't used HoloLens in a long time, so we're going to have to figure out how to use it together. Okay, and I need to end the stream. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.